You feel it, don't you? That quiet, creeping sense that you're not really free. You're not in chains. No one is holding a gun to your head, but you feel trapped. Trapped in a cycle of endless distraction, instant gratification, and a low-grade anxiety that no amount of scrolling, swiping, or binging can seem to numb. In the next few minutes, the ghost of Aldous Huxley is going to give you an awakening. You will gain the power to see the invisible cage you've been taught to love as your home. And you'll soon know the difference between the prison you can see and the one you can't, and how to start planning your escape from the comfortable dystopia we're all living in. We've been sold a lie, a huge, terrifying, and seductive lie. We've been taught to fear the boot on our neck. We've been taught to watch out for the iron fist, the surveillance state, the overt tyranny of a big brother watching our every move. We've been trained to look for the obvious prison, the one with bars and guards. But what if the most dangerous prison is the one you can't see? What if the most effective form of control isn't pain, but pleasure? What if the most powerful dictatorship is the one that doesn't need to force you to do anything because you have been conditioned to love your own slavery? Therefore, you're not looking for the enemy in the right place. You are watching the front door while the real threat has been living inside your house, sleeping in your bed, and whispering in your ear your entire life. Two of the 20th century's greatest prophets, George Orwell and Aldous Huxley, saw two very different but equally terrifying futures for humanity. Orwell, in his masterpiece 1984, warned us of a world controlled by pain, fear, and constant surveillance. A world where books are banned, where truth is dictated by the state, and where dissent is brutally crushed. Huxley, in his equally brilliant Brave New World, warned us of something far more subtle and far more insidious. A world controlled not by pain, but by pleasure. A world where people are not forced to obey, but are conditioned to love their servitude. A world where the greatest threat to freedom is not a government that bans books, but a culture where no one even wants to read them. And here is the terrifying truth. We have spent the last 70 years looking for Orwell's 1984, but we have been sleepwalking directly into Huxley's Brave New World. We are not being ruined by what we hate. We are being ruined by what we love. We are drowning in a sea of information, but we are starving for wisdom. We are amusing ourselves to death, and the invisible bars of our cage are being forged piece by piece by our own relentless pursuit of comfort, convenience, and constant mindless pleasure. This isn't a conspiracy theory. This is a psychological diagnosis, and to break free, you first have to understand how the prison was built. You have to see the architecture of your own enslavement, because you can't escape a cage until you realize you're in one. And this cage, my friend, is the most comfortable, entertaining, and seductive cage ever designed. And it was designed for you. Let's get one thing clear. The system we are living in is not an accident. It is the result of a profound understanding of human psychology. Huxley saw it with chilling clarity. In Brave New World, citizens were not controlled by force. They were controlled by conditioning. From birth, they were subjected to hypnopedia, or sleep teaching. Messages repeated endlessly during their sleep, shaping their beliefs, their desires, their very sense of self, without them ever being conscious of it. Phrases like, everyone belongs to everyone else, and a gram of soma is better than a dam, were etched into their minds to ensure they never questioned, never felt deeply, and never desired solitude or suffering. Now you might think, that's science fiction. That's not happening to me. Are you sure? Today's conditioning doesn't happen through sleep teaching. It happens through something far more powerful. Your phone. The algorithms that curate your social media feeds. The corporate marketing that targets your deepest insecurities. The endless stream of stimuli that are meticulously designed to shape your behavior without you ever noticing. Every notification you receive is a little hit of dopamine, a chemical reward that trains your brain to crave more. Every short-form video that delivers a new piece of information with zero effort conditions you to lose the capacity for deep, focused thought. And every time you are rewarded for conforming, with likes, with shares, with social validation, you are reinforcing the invisible bars of your own cage. You are learning on a deep neurological level that conformity is pleasure, and pleasure is the highest good. The result, an entire generation of people who are terrified of being alone with their own thoughts. A generation that is incapable of dealing with the slightest discomfort. A generation that has lost the habit of critical thinking because the system has made it obsolete. Why read a book when you can watch a 30-second summary? Why have a difficult, nuanced conversation when you can just post a meme and get instant validation from your echo chamber? Why wrestle with the great questions of life when you can just binge watch another series? But this rejection of mental effort, this relentless flight from discomfort, comes at a terrible price. Therefore, a dictatorship is no longer necessary to control the masses, because the masses have been conditioned to control themselves. They have been taught to reject their own freedom in the name of comfort. This is the core of Huxley's prophecy. The real threat is not that someone will take away our freedom. It is that we will become so distracted, so entertained, and so addicted to pleasure that we will simply lose interest in it. We will have traded our birthright as thinking, feeling, sovereign individuals for a bowl of digital porridge, and we will have done it willingly. We will have loved our own slavery. But this constant pursuit of pleasure doesn't just make us easier to control. It makes us weaker. It hollows us out from the inside. And this manufactured happiness, this world without pain, is the most dangerous drug of all. Because it is turning us into a society of ghosts. And that is what we need to talk about next. Imagine a world where no one suffers. A world where every pain, every frustration, every anxiety is instantly erased by a magical pill. It sounds like paradise, doesn't it? But now look closer. What happens to a muscle that is never exercised? What happens to an immune system that is never challenged? What happens to a human soul that is never tested by adversity? The answer is simple. It atrophies. It becomes weak, fragile, and utterly incapable of dealing with reality. This is the terrifying trap that Huxley laid out in Brave New World. Happiness was guaranteed by the constant consumption of soma, the perfect drug. No hangovers, no side effects, just instant blissful escape. But this happiness was a form of spiritual death. It meant that no one knew how to deal with pain. No one knew how to process grief. No one knew how to sit with their own consciousness. Any uncomfortable thought, any shadow of suffering, was immediately dissolved in a chemical bath of comfort. Life was a flat line of superficial pleasure, and anything that threatened that flat line was seen as a form of madness. Now, look around you. We may not have a literal soma, but we have 1,000 digital and chemical equivalents. We have social media feeds that provide an endless stream of validation and distraction. We have dating apps that promise connection without the risk of rejection. We have algorithms that deliver exactly what we want to see and hear, creating a perfectly curated reality that never challenges our biases. We have a pharmaceutical industry that offers a pill for every uncomfortable emotion. We have a culture that tells us at every turn that we have a right to be happy, and that any form of suffering is a problem to be solved, a disease to be cured, an inconvenience to be eliminated. But this relentless escape from pain is the very thing that is destroying us. Therefore, we are becoming a society of emotional invalids. The brutal, inconvenient truth is that pain has a purpose. Suffering is a teacher. Frustration is the engine of growth. Difficulty is the chisel that sculpts our character. These are not bugs in the human operating system. They are features. They are the psychological equivalent of a fever, a signal that something is wrong, that something needs to be healed, that something needs to change. And when we numb the signal, we are not solving the problem. We are just allowing the infection to spread in the dark. When we avoid all challenges, we become fragile. Small failures become existential crises. Minor disagreements feel like catastrophic betrayals. Anything that requires patience, discipline, or effort is discarded in favor of the quick fix, the easy path, the instant gratification. And this fragility makes us incredibly easy to control. A society of strong, resilient individuals who have been tested by fire, who have learned to sit with their own discomfort, who have found meaning in their own suffering. That society will never be docile. It will never accept a system that limits its freedom, but a society of emotionally dependent individuals who need constant external stimuli to feel okay, who are terrified of their own inner emptiness, who will do anything to avoid a moment of pain. That society will be obedient. It will be manipulable. It will be the perfect flock for any shepherd who promises safety and comfort. And this is how the trap closes. The promise of freedom from all suffering becomes the very chain that binds us. The cage is not made of iron. It is made of comfort. But there is a way out. And it lies in understanding the fundamental difference between two words that we often use interchangeably, but that are, in fact, worlds apart: pleasure and purpose. Because while the pursuit of pleasure can enslave us, the pursuit of purpose can set us free. And that is the choice that is now laid before you. What are you really seeking in your life? Is it happiness? Or is it meaning? Is it pleasure? Or is it purpose? This is not a rhetorical question. It is the most important question you will ever answer, because the answer will determine whether you live as a slave or as a sovereign. The modern world, the Huxleyan world, has taught us to equate happiness with the accumulation of pleasurable experiences. A good life, we are told, is one that is filled with comfort, with entertainment, with positive emotions, and with the absence of pain. But this is a child's definition of happiness, and it is a recipe for a shallow, meaningless, and ultimately miserable life. Therefore, we are a generation that has more comfort, more entertainment, and more access to pleasure than any in human history. And yet we are also the most anxious, the most depressed, and the most medicated generation in human history. We have been chasing the wrong thing. Viktor Frankl, the psychiatrist and Holocaust survivor, wrote in his masterpiece, Man's Search for Meaning, that it is not the pursuit of happiness that sustains us, but the pursuit of meaning. He observed, in the unimaginable horror of the concentration camps, that the people who were most likely to survive were not the strongest or the healthiest, but the ones who had a why, a reason to live, a purpose that transcended their own suffering. It could be the love for a child they hoped to see again. It could be a book they needed to write. It could be a discovery they needed to share with the world. That purpose was their spiritual anchor in a sea of meaningless suffering. And it was the one thing the Nazis could not take from them. Pleasure is about getting. Purpose is about giving. Pleasure is about the self. Purpose is about something larger than the self. Pleasure is fleeting. Purpose is enduring. And here is the great paradox. When you stop chasing pleasure and start pursuing purpose, you often find a deeper, more resilient, and more authentic form of happiness as a byproduct. A happiness that is not dependent on external circumstances. A happiness that can coexist with pain. A happiness that is not a destination, but a direction. So, how do you find your purpose? You don't find it by thinking about it. You don't find it by taking a personality test. You find it by doing. You find it by taking on responsibility. You find it by choosing to do hard things. You find it by committing yourself to something outside of your own petty ego. It could be mastering a craft. It could be building a business. It could be raising a family. It could be serving your community. It could be creating art. The what is less important than the why. The why must be something that pulls you out of yourself, that demands the best of you, that forces you to grow. This is the antidote to the soma of modern life. It is the conscious choice to embrace discomfort, to delay gratification, to engage in deep, focused work, to have difficult conversations, to face your own pain without numbing it. It is the choice to build something rather than just consume something. It is the choice to be a creator, not just a spectator. But this path is not easy. It is the path of resistance. It is the path of the individual against the herd. Therefore, it will be lonely. It will be difficult. And the system, the comfortable cage, will do everything in its power to pull you back in. It will tempt you with another notification, another episode, another hit of easy dopamine. And you will have to choose again and again. You will have to choose freedom over comfort. You will have to choose purpose over pleasure. You will have to choose the hard path of meaning over the easy path of amusement. This is the final battle. It is not a battle against a government or a corporation. It is a battle for your own mind, a battle for your own soul. And it is a battle that is fought not with weapons, but with choices. The choice of what you give your attention to. The choice of how you spend your time. The choice of what you value. And the choice of what you are willing to suffer for. In Brave New World, the protagonist, John the Savage, is given a choice. He can remain in the civilized world of comfort, pleasure, and meaningless happiness, or he can retreat to a life of hardship, pain, and freedom. He is offered soma, but he rejects it. He says, I don't want comfort. I want God. I want poetry. I want real danger. I want freedom. I want goodness. I want sin. The controller of this world is baffled. He asks, you're claiming the right to be unhappy. And John replies, yes, I'm claiming the right to be unhappy. This is the ultimate act of rebellion in our modern world. It is the right to be unhappy, the right to feel pain, the right to struggle, the right to be human in all our messy, tragic, and glorious complexity. It is the right to reject the comfortable cage and to choose the terrifying, magnificent, and meaningful wilderness of a life lived on your own terms. So, I ask you again, what are you seeking? Are you seeking the shallow, fleeting pleasure of the herd? Or are you seeking the deep, enduring meaning of the individual? Are you seeking the soma that will numb your pain? Or are you seeking the purpose that will redeem it? The choice is yours. And it is the only choice that matters. Choose wisely. Your life depends on it. Let's get even more practical. How do you start this rebellion? It feels huge, overwhelming, like trying to push back the ocean. But it starts with small, deliberate acts of defiance. It starts with reclaiming your own mind, one conscious choice at a time. This is your training montage. This is where you forge the tools you need to break out of the cage. Tool number 1, the information diet. You are what you consume. And most of us are consuming a diet of pure, unadulterated junk food for the mind. You wouldn't feed your body a constant stream of sugar and processed chemicals. So why do you do it to your brain? You need to go on an information diet. Unfollow the accounts that just make you feel anxious or envious. Mute the endless news cycle that is designed to keep you in a state of low-grade fear. Delete the apps that are nothing more than dopamine slot machines. And then, be intentional about what you replace them with. Read books, long books, difficult books, books that challenge your assumptions and force you to think. Listen to long-form podcasts that explore a single topic in depth. Watch documentaries that expand your understanding of the world. You are not just consuming information. You are building the architecture of your own mind, and you can choose to build it with bricks, or you can choose to build it with cotton candy. Tool number 2, the practice of solitude. In our hyper-connected world, solitude has become a radical act. We are terrified of being alone with our own thoughts. The moment we have a spare second, we reach for our phones, desperate for a distraction. You have to break this addiction. You have to schedule time to be alone, with no screens, no music, no podcasts. Just you and your own consciousness. Go for a walk in nature. Sit in a quiet room. Meditate. At first, it will be excruciating. Your mind will scream for a distraction. You will feel the full force of your own inner chaos. This is the withdrawal. You have to push through it. Because on the other side of that discomfort is a gift. It is the gift of self-knowledge. It is the ability to hear your own inner voice, the one that has been drowned out by the noise of the world. It is the beginning of a relationship with the most important person you will ever know, yourself. Tool number 3, the embrace of discomfort. Our entire culture is a conspiracy to eliminate discomfort, but discomfort is not your enemy. It is your gym. It is where you go to get stronger. You have to start intentionally and strategically introducing discomfort into your life. Take a cold shower. Have that difficult conversation you've been avoiding. Sign up for a marathon. Learn a new skill that you are terrible at. The goal is not to torture yourself. The goal is to expand your capacity for discomfort, to prove to yourself on a deep cellular level that you can handle hard things, that you are not as fragile as the system wants you to believe. Every time you voluntarily step into discomfort, you are taking back your power. You are inoculating yourself against the fear and fragility that the world uses to control you. Tool number 4, the creation mandate. You have been conditioned to be a consumer. Your primary role in this society is to buy things, to watch things, to consume things. To break free, you must become a creator. You must shift your identity from being a passive spectator to being an active participant in the creation of the world. This doesn't mean you have to be a professional artist. It means you have to find a way to make something. Write a blog, start a garden, learn to cook, build a piece of furniture. The act of creation is a profound act of defiance. It is a declaration that you are not just a mouth to be fed, but a mind and a soul with something to offer. It is the act of pouring your own energy, your own focus, your own purpose into the world, rather than just passively consuming what the world gives you. It is the difference between being a character in the story and being the author. These are not just tips and tricks. These are acts of war. They are small, daily battles in the great war for your own sovereignty. And every time you choose the book over the feed, the silence over the noise, the discomfort over the comfort, the creation over the consumption, you are winning. You are casting a vote for your own freedom. You are remembering who you are. You are waking up from the comfortable dream, and you are starting to see the world and yourself with new eyes, the eyes of a free human being. And that is a sight that the system cannot and will not tolerate, because a free human being is the most dangerous thing in the world to a system that relies on slaves.